guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for being here, and today I'm going to show you guys a little tutorial kind of thing through some Adobe products that have honestly changed the way that I sort through my photos. As a lot of you know, I am on my yearbook staff and I am just a really big photographer, so a lot of times I come home at the end of the night and I have got hundreds if not thousands of photos to sort through. So this is one thing, this is how I sort through my photos, and it has really helped me to cut down on time and to just find all of my good pictures quicker. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is I use Adobe Bridge. So make sure first of all that you're up to date, or so that you can follow along with my tutorial. And we'll just go ahead and open it. Okay. So, right off the bat, when I open my Adobe Bridge, it looks very daunting. First thing I'm going to do though is I am going to click all the way back up here at the top to just computer. Okay. I'm then going to click on this guy, and because this is my school MacBook, I'm going to have to go through users and find my user, but after all of that, here we are, okay? So it's got all of these files, obviously. Now, normally, when you have an SD card, you can just put your SD card in, and it'll either show up right here on this screen, or under the same one that the Macintosh HD was under. So you'll just do that and open it the same way you would a folder, but for me, I already have my photos on my desktop, so I'm just going to do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my desktop folder, and then you can see my folders, and I'm just going to go ahead and select, we'll select KD Studios for this one, for example. So as you can see, I've got a lot of pictures here, okay? Like, not as much as normal because I have already sorted through this folder, but it's still quite a bit. It's almost 200. So one of the things that I have learned to do that is literally the quickest thing and has helped me so much is once you get to this screen, you can either select all of these and just decide to go through all of them, and that's what I usually do at the beginning. And you can just do that by like not clicking anything and doing this next part, or I can say like specific sections to help me kind of control what I'm picking. So for instance, today I'm going to hit my shift key and I'm just going to go along and select all these pictures in the top 2-ish rows, like that. And then the next thing you're going to do, like I said, you can do this before or after you select whatever group you decide, is I'm going to go up here to view, and I'm going to hit this button that says review mode. It's also Command B if you want to hit that. I just like to do it this way. Now once you do that, it's going to pull up all of your images in this basically like carousel of images. Now you could leave it there and just look through them and kind of see what you have, and if you're just reviewing like a few images and trying to kind of pick the best ones, that's an easy way to do it. But I'm going to take it a whole step further, and I'm going to show you how to rate these. So say I'm going through these and I've got a lot of photos, and so maybe I was at a football game or something and I really just was holding my shutter down, okay? So I've got a lot of photos that are blurry or out of focus or whatever. Anything that is a bad photo, what I can do is I can automatically rate it a 1, right? So you'll just hit your number 1 key. Now this is what's really cool about this. In review mode, and in Adobe Bridge, you can rate your photos from a 1 to a 5 scale. Some people rate their 1s their best, some people rate their 5s their best. It's really up to you. Me personally, I rate my lowest ones. Anything I'm going to delete and not look at again, I rate it a 1. So that's going to be my super blurry images, my grainy images, just anything that's really bad, that maybe any of my testing images for lighting, stuff like that. Those are automatically going to be a 1. Anything that is a 2 is a backup image in case I don't have enough images for something. And then I always keep all of my 4s and 5s. So 4s and 5s I 100% always keep, because for me, on my scale in particular, 5s are extremely hard to come by, and so I usually only end up with maybe anywhere from 5 to 10 fives, just depending on how many pictures I have. 4s are more common, and that's probably my top tier, and then my 3 is kind of my middle ground. So at the end of the day, I usually will have 3s and 4s and maybe a few 5s. So all you're going to do with this step is you're just going to go through and rate each of your photos. So like this, we'll give these all 4s. Maybe I like this one a lot. There's a 4. Maybe I don't like this one so much, so I'll give it a 2, a 2, a 2. Maybe I like this one a little more. You get the picture. You just go through all your pictures and decide which ones you like the most, which ones you don't like, etc. So next step after that is we'll go ahead and hit our escape key, or you can just hit like the little X up here in the corner, whatever works for you. And you can either select another section of your photos and do that section, or whatever you need to do. The cool thing about this though is after we rate them, we can automatically filter them into our ratings. So if you will notice over here, we have these little like drop down menus. If you go to filter and you go to ratings, you will see that it says like no rating, and it has 171 photos, 2 rating is 3 photos, 3 rating is 1 photo, and so on and so forth. I can actually click on those buttons and it'll show me just the rated photos that I have for that one. And you can click up to multiple of them. So I can click like all of my 3s, 4s, and 5s, and it'll show me all of my 3, 4s, and 5s. Or I can click just my no rating photos, and it'll show me just my no rating photos. So this is a really good way for you to see, like at the end, like if I was like, oh, how many 5s did I have? I can actually click on my 5 stars and it'll show me the 3 photos I have. So the next thing we can do when sorting through these is we can batch rename and batch file out these. So like I said, I usually delete all of my 1s, right? So at the end of the day, if I have like 100 1s, right, I can literally click on my little checkbox that says 1s and it'll show me all my 1s. I don't have any 1s for today because I've already kind of sorted out all my 1s in this package. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to sort out all of my 2s. So I only have 3 2s this time because I did a smaller group for y'all. So what you're going to do next is we're going to batch rename. So what you'll do is you'll highlight those, and then you will go up here to your top and you will do tools and then batch rename. It's going to pull up this little pop-up menu, and we're going to start the batch rename process. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is you're going to pick your destination folder. So you can, this is honestly up to you. I mean, you can put it in the same folder you've already got them in. If you have them in a folder, you can copy them to another folder. You can move them to another folder. It's up to you, honestly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to move to other folder because I want it to completely take it out of this folder and put it in a completely different folder. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one, and then I have to pick a destination folder, so I'm going to click browse. It's going to take a second and then it will open like this. Now notice if I want to move it to another folder but I don't already have that folder like existing, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to hit new folder and then obviously name it. So my new folder, I'm going to say YouTube example, and I'm going to go ahead and tell it to create that. And there you go. Now, if you notice, it is putting this YouTube example folder inside of my Katie Studios folder, and I personally like that because it keeps kind of in track what you've edited, what you've gone through, all that kind of stuff. But just if you want it somewhere else, just make sure you drag it or you actually create it in a different place. So I'm going to go ahead and tell that to open, and we'll go back here. Now this is the really cool part. This is going to help you keep organized, and if you are submitting to like a contest or in classroom, or even if you're in a yearbook setting, this is going to be really helpful for you. So next you're going to have your file names. I always start with a text one, and I usually do my name, so I'll just put Zoe, and then I do underscore, and then you can do like sequence number, and what you want to put in this box is whatever your first number is going to be, so that's usually like 1, right? And notice I have it set to 4 digits. So depending on how many pictures you have really depends on how many digits you need. So when you have those really big 1,000 number groups of photos, you do want to have to set it to 4 digits. Otherwise you'll have repeats and it'll be a whole thing. So then if you look down here at new file name, you can see it's kind of sampling that for you. So there's that. And then say I wanted to add some more things, you can just click the plus button and click the drop down and it'll let you add different things like date and time or metadata, a string substitution, a current file name, all that kind of stuff. For me though, this is good. Also, because this is a preset for me and I do this all the time, it did have my 2 already saved in there. It may end up with 4. So if you want to delete one of these, you just have to hit the minus button and it'll go back to what you have set. After that, everything else is really up to you. You can go look at this options tab and it'll tell you like preserve current files and the metadata, compatibility with Mac, Windows, all that kind of information. I usually just leave most of that blank because it's not that important for my instance. And then the bottom right here is really cool because it'll show you a preview. So it tells you what this current image is named, and then it's going to show you what a new file name will look like. Now they're not all going to be named like Zoe_1, that's why we have that sequence number. So after it saves the first one, it'll be Zoe_2, Zoe_3, and so on and so forth. But it's going to go ahead and show you right down here what that sample name is. So after you've done that, you can do a couple of things. You can hit preview, or you can hit rename. I personally, this is good for me. I know what it's going to look like, so I'm going to go ahead and tell it to rename. So when it does that, if you notice, because I told it to move those images, it took those 2 images out of my 2-star and completely out of my KD Studios folder, and it's going to have moved them. So if I go ahead and minimize my Adobe Bridge, and I go to my KD Studios folder, here we are, and then I scroll, there's my YouTube example folder, and there are my 3 images. So that's kind of a quick step-by-step of how I sort through all my images, how I rename and batch rename my images. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys!